talking about is experimental design. So I'm going to go through the three types of experimental designs we talked about in class. So this is a quick refresher on the three types. So let's get started. So first is a completely randomized design. Pretty basic, okay? You're going to have your experimental units, okay? And to have replication, you want to have many experimental units here. And then you're going to just randomly assign them to treatments, okay? So there's my replication, here's my randomization, and I would randomly assign them to treatments. So you have someone come forward, maybe you have treatments 1, 2, 3, random number generator decides you get 2, so they get 2. Random number generator decides the next person gets 1, then 3, then 3, then 2. You get the idea. Randomly assign them to treatments. So replication here, randomization. And with your treatments, maybe one of them is a placebo, something like that. There's your control. So it's a straightforward design. You take your experimental units, randomly assign treatments. There's your treatments. Boom, compare your results. Very, very straightforward stuff. So this would be used if you want something done quick and easy. Reason why it's a little bit of a downfall is there are some outside factors that can be influenced here, and there's some ways you can control those and limit those, which is our next design. So has a little bit less control than maybe you'd like to see, and it doesn't really let you get very, very deep into your results there and see what's really going on. Which brings us to our next type of design, a randomized block design. Okay, so you're going to start with your experimental units. You're going to break them into blocks. I'll talk about those in a second. And then you randomly assign. Each block gets all treatments. Each block, all treatments. Each block, all treatments. And compare your results. Okay, so here's how it works. Let's say you're looking at your experiment and you think, I think the gender is a big issue here, and we might see a little bit different results between the males and the females. I know I have 3 blocks listed here. You just use 2 for that. So what you would do is you form blocks based on a common characteristic. But the characteristic you're going to break down things by is a characteristic that you think is important. So if I think gender might play a role in my experiment, then I'm going to block by gender. So I might have a block of all of my males and all of my females go to block 2. Then block 1, my males, I'm going to randomly assign. Some of them get treatment 1, some of them get treatment 2, compare results. My females, some of them are going to be randomly assigned treatment 1, some are randomly assigned treatment 2, compare results. Okay, can go another way. Let's say you're blocking and you think there's a difference between kids, adults, and senior citizens. So you think age might be a factor and incredibly important in your experiment. So you would be able to break down things a little bit more than, let's say, a completely randomized design and say, all right, I want to kind of get a little bit more layers to my results and look at different age groups. So maybe I put all the kids in block 1, all the adults in block 2, and all my senior citizens in block 3, okay? So if age was important, I'm going to break them up, okay? Inside the blocks, they all have a similar characteristic. And yes, all treatments need to be happening inside of every block. Okay, so that's a randomized block design. It helps you have a little bit more control on some variables that you maybe wouldn't have control of up here. Okay, so it's another way to introduce control. With this experimental design, your replication, you would hope you would have a lot of experimental units. Your randomization is right here when you're, oh boy, what's that? Remind me later. Your random assignment of treatments, that's your randomization. And your control, you could have placebos in here, your control groups. Your blocking here helps you get a little bit of control as well. One last type of experimental design we talked about, that is a matched pairs design. It's really a specialized kind of block design, but it really works in pairs there. So there's 2 ways I could see you pulling this off. So let's say you have an experimental unit, and what you're going to do is it's going to receive both treatments, a pair of treatments, okay? So you're still going to randomly assign where these treatments happen, the order in which they happen, and compare results. So here's a few different examples of that. Maybe your experiment has to do with wood, and you're wondering about, was one paint work better than the other and whatever, okay? So experimental unit is my wood. I'm going to randomly assign paint 1 goes on the left side, paint 2 is on the right side. And maybe the random assignment is deciding, does treatment 1 go on the left side or does it go on the right side? You know, you randomly pick where it's at, okay? So I'm getting both treatments. The pair of treatments happen to the same experimental unit, and you compare results. Another way you can do this is, say I'm an athlete and hoping for better athletic results, okay? So maybe I randomly assign, and this week I'm going to randomly assign, and I got Gatorade. So I drink the Gatorade, that's my treatment, record my results. Next week I would have water. That's my other treatment, see my athletic performance, see the results. Where the randomness would come in of the treatments is randomly decided which treatment happens first. For one experimental unit, it might be Gatorade first, then water. For another experimental unit, it might be water first, then Gatorade. Okay, you don't want to say it has to be this one first, this one second. You randomly assign there. So the replication, you would hope you have many experimental units. Randomization here, and you would hope for some type of control there as well, blinding, whatever. Another way you can do a matched pairs design is you've paired up your experimental units, randomly assigned treatments. So this is one experimental unit, both treatments. This is a pair of experimental units. One gets one treatment, the other gets the other, compare results. Okay, so how this can work is if you're going to pair experimental units, you're finding two experimental units that are very, 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 very similar. So you're okay with one getting one treatment and the other getting the other's treatment. A way this could work is, let's say I wanted to do something with cars. I have no idea what my treatment would be, but maybe I pair them up and I say, all right, I got a 2012 Honda Accord and a 2012 Honda Accord. One of them gets treatment A, one of them gets treatment B, compare results. And then my other paired experiment, I got a Toyota Prius from 2014 and another Toyota Prius from 2014. Randomly assign which one gets which treatment, compare results. Okay, so notice there's some form of pairing there, either one experimental unit, two treatments, or you pair up your experimental units, and you can still have two treatments. This is a specialized block design, okay? So maybe you're honing in and you're like, I really want to control as much as possible the same experimental unit, both treatments, or I just want to really control maybe the type of car, that example I used before. So a Honda Accord gets both, a Prius gets both, a van gets both, etc., etc., okay? So it does allow you, like the randomized block design, to get another layer there. Okay, so these again were the three big experimental designs: a completely randomized design, a matched pairs design, and a randomized block design. There you have it.